WNBA has completely mismanaged its biggest star in Caitlin Clark, and it's really sad to see. She is the primary catalyst for their new media rights deals, sold out stadiums, having to move to bigger arenas just to feel how many fans are coming to the games. The primary catalyst for them now having private charter flights and a new CBA that pays them top dollar. Yet the WNBA at every turn seems to have misstep after misstep after misstep. The truth is, basketball is competitive and it gets physical at every level. But what Alyssa Thomas did was dirty to Caitlin Clark. And with countless examples of this targeted behavior towards the WNBA's biggest star, it's only right that the WNBA has to change the way that it officiates games to protect its players. From Caitlin Clark to every single WNBA player down the line. But it's so sad that all this drama is taking away from what the focus should be, basketball.
And to the ground, and ooh, that's a hand to the neck, and then
driving into a wall at full speed with Caitlin Clark. They now have a commemorative poster of 30 years of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's not on it. And it's not just like an ode to the veterans that started the league. Paige Beckers and Angel Reese are on it. And Caitlin Clark.
One controversial moment has thrown the WNBA into absolute chaos, and now former players, analysts, and even basketball legends are demanding answers. What looked like just another hard foul has exploded into a league-wide debate over fairness, accountability, and the treatment of Caitlin Clark. But why are so many voices suddenly calling for Alyssa Thomas to face punishment? What evidence has everyone talked?
A couple of heated games and some rough plays this week have sparked a new controversy in the WNBA around superstar Caitlin Clark. On Monday, her Indiana Fever played the Phoenix Mercury in a game with 6 technical fouls, including one for Clark and an ejection. Their second meeting on Wednesday brought this moment when the Mercury's Alyssa Thomas pressed her fist into Clark's neck during a loose ball and no foul was called.
Caitlin Clark, she falls to the ground, she kind of loses the ball, and then Alyssa Thomas and Dwana Bonner are both going in to try to get the loose ball. This is just bad right here, you guys. So Alyssa Thomas kind of dives in, but you can see her fist go straight into her neck, and then there's another angle where her knee kind of goes into her groin, and this is at minimum a flagrant 1, and nothing was called here. You could see everybody's running back the other direction. Caitlin's slow to get up. This wasn't called. And then there was another play later on in the game where it was a clear landing space foul.
Nobody expected a single play to ignite one of the biggest debates the WNBA has seen all season, but that is exactly what happened. What began as a fiercely contested matchup quickly transformed into a nationwide argument about player safety, officiating, and whether the league is doing enough to protect its biggest stars.
What do you think of the play, the suspension, the reviews, all of it?
I just think it's so tough because the WNBA is physical. And when I think about a loose ball, I know that I've died at the bottom of some loose balls before.
After Phoenix Mercury forward Alyssa Thomas was suspended only 1 game for punching Caitlin Clark in the throat, one of her teammates and the associate head coach came to her defense. Thomas punched Caitlin Clark in the throat and kneed her in the groin. If anybody is cruel and a bully, it's Alyssa Thomas.
Caitlin Clark got to fight one of these women. She has to fight one of these women. I say this with a straight face because, Caitlin, eventually if you fight somebody, now they will know the next time they try you, they are going to have to fight. You might lose, but they're not going to want to fight you every single time. And the fact of the matter is, they treat you like a roach.
Within hours, highlight clips spread across social media. Sports talk shows devoted entire segments to the incident. And former players, analysts, and fans were all asking the same question. Did the officials miss something significant? And did the league's response go far enough? The conversation quickly became much bigger.
People don't want to celebrate the greatness that's happening in the WNBA because the league won't even protect its most influential and marketable player. The greatness of the other players in the WNBA gets ignored because the league won't protect the player who is behind its significant growth. The facts today show that too many people still make the debates in the WNBA centered around race and sexuality, not just the results. Drawing a line in the sand and defending any player's dirty play just because of the color of their skin or their sexuality.
Differently. The WNBA keeps growing. They celebrated its 30th anniversary, so they released a promotional poster. Now, this on top of what happened with Caitlin Clark last night. And by the way, Caitlin Clark's coach maybe too little too late in defending Caitlin Clark. There seems to be a disconnect between.
Instead, it evolved into a debate about how the WNBA should balance its physical style of basketball with protecting players who have become central to the league's rapid growth. Everyone seemed to have an opinion, and almost nobody agreed with each other.
I really think that Caitlin Clark needs to leave the WNBA because these people don't realize that everything that they're getting now, all the more money they're getting, the league minimum used to be like $78,000. Now the league minimum for the WNBA is $300,000, with the highest being $1.7 million. And so I think the highest used to be like $150,000 would be the best you can make. Now it's up to $1.7 million. And did you know Caitlin Clark's not even in the top 25?
So you think she should go to the Euro League where they can make up to $4 million?
Yep, I think she should. She is the one that brought all these new eyes.
One side argued that basketball has always been a physical sport and that hard contact is simply part of competing at the highest level. The other side believed the officials allowed the game to become unnecessarily rough, and that failing to act immediately only made matters worse. Somewhere between those two viewpoints sat the league itself, tasked with reviewing the play after the final buzzer and deciding whether additional discipline was necessary. That decision immediately poured gasoline on an already raging fire. According to the WNBA's official review, Alyssa Thomas received a flagrant 2 penalty after the league determined there had been reckless contact involving Caitlin Clark during the game. The league also announced a 1-game suspension, explaining that the incident qualified as a non-basketball act under league rules. Whether fans agreed with the punishment or not, the decision instantly became one of the biggest talking points across sports media. That, of course, if there is one thing sports fans enjoy almost as much as the games themselves, it is arguing about officiating. Every replay was examined frame by frame, as if thousands of basketball detectives had suddenly earned honorary law degrees. Media became its own courtroom.
It wasn't upgraded to a flagrant 1. You guys know how I feel about landing space fouls. I always am on the safe side when it comes to landing space because that is something that you could get very injured off of. And it's one of those things, like with the referees, the entire offseason, the CBA, all of this stuff was focused on trying to get the referees to do a better job. The WNBA has been super physical. We have heard players from the past just talk about the physicality of the WNBA and kind of pride themselves on that. But then as a viewer, as a fan, you're like, we don't like this. Like, yes, there's a level of physicality that's going to happen in basketball, but this is to the extreme. And it's also just the consistency, the level of calling fouls consistently across the board and making sure that the players are safe.
Some fans believed the suspension was appropriate because the league had acknowledged the seriousness of the contact. Others insisted that 1 game barely qualified as punishment at all. If the goal was player safety, they argued the consequences needed to send a stronger message. Naturally, the debate did not stay on social media for long. Television analysts quickly joined the discussion, with several high-profile personalities questioning whether the WNBA had done enough. Stephen A. Smith argued that the league must recognize the importance of protecting its biggest attractions while still allowing legitimate competition. His point was not that stars should receive special treatment simply because they are popular, but that the league cannot afford preventable situations that remove its most recognizable players from the court. From a business perspective, his comments struck a nerve. Professional sports have always depended on their biggest stars. The NBA understood the importance of marketing Michael Jordan. The NFL protects quarterbacks with rules that barely existed decades ago. Baseball constantly looks for ways to keep its most recognizable players healthy throughout a